Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
It will lift up from Earth with more power than the Saturn V, which was the first vehicle to take us to the moon.
Artemis is our next giant leap.
The difference between the Apollo program and the Artemis program is really the focus on sustainability and using the moon as an outpost for further exploration.
This time, we're going back to learn how to live and work on the moon.
The Space Launch System really is the culmination of our knowledge for 60 years of building rockets.
We started by looking at over 1,700 different potential components that would go into the rocket, and by looking at the way we could reuse some of the most reliable equipment that was flown on the shuttle.
We took those and we put them together into a system that had enough energy to make sense to do the mission that we've been asked to do.
We're moving from low Earth orbit, like you see in the International Space Station today, to moving beyond that, to taking the next step in exploration.
It's 322 feet tall. It's got 700,000 gallons of cryogenic propellant in the core stage alone. It can produce 8.8 million pounds of vacuum thrust. The Space Launch System is really a national rocket, a national asset too.
We have worked with contractors as well as with our NASA experts, our science and engineering department, our safety and mission assurance team.
To get the Space Launch System designed, developed, and produced, it has taken thousands of companies across the country.
It comes together by train, it comes together by plane, it comes together by barges.
So all of that culminates at the Kennedy Space Center for the launch of the first Artemis mission.
Everybody has worked together to ensure that we have a safe and reliable rocket.
At NASA, safety and testing is extremely important because ultimately this rocket isn't meant just to carry cargo, it's meant to carry people.
It takes all types of education, all types of backgrounds, all types of diversity to do the things we do, and it'll be great to see a diverse crew land on the moon.
Where the Space Launch System comes in is providing that reliable transportation so that we can start flying these rockets on a routine basis to take people and to take payload to that outpost, the moon, and also the gateway system.
We have a generation who've never seen deep space exploration, and this will give them an opportunity to see that this is something that they can potentially do themselves.
It's going to be a paradigm shift for NASA. We're going to be back to looking at things that nobody's ever done before.
Forma parte de una operación para volver a enviar astronautas a la Luna por primera vez desde el fin del programa Apolo hace 50 años. El objetivo es establecer una base como paso previo para llegar a Marte. El cohete impulsa una cápsula con 3 muñecos de prueba que recopilan datos biométricos para ayudar a futuras tripulaciones hasta una órbita amplia alrededor de la Luna. En su regreso a la Tierra, la cápsula, con 11 paracaídas, probará un nuevo escudo térmico, el mayor jamás construido.
ORD significa órbita retrógrada distante. Es una órbita estable colocada en la ruta de Orión alrededor de la Luna, con la nave espacial viajando en la dirección opuesta o retrógrada a la que la Luna viaja alrededor de la Tierra. Para Artemis 1, Orión pasará unos días en ORD porque mantiene la nave espacial en la distancia máxima de la Tierra, permitiendo a Orión demostrar varias habilidades. una de las cuales es alcanzar una velocidad lo suficientemente alta durante las propulsiones de retorno para asegurar que el escudo térmico de Orión pueda proteger en el futuro a las tripulaciones a tales velocidades.
Y mientras continuamos el conteo, todo luce como programado. Nuestra próxima etapa o próximo punto importante es cuando esta etapa central pasa a energía interna.
La etapa superior que va a pasar primero de la etapa central pasar a la energía interna. La etapa superior primero tiene que pasar a la energía interna.
Correcto.
Y eso ya en esto va a pasar.
They will operate at 109% performance. Each RS-25 throwing down 500,000 pounds of thrust. All four, 2 million pounds. Altogether,
continúa el despegue, todo va como programado. Y como dijo Tony, ya tenemos la etapa superior operando con energía interna y nos preparamos para hacer lo mismo con la etapa central. Preparándonos para que la etapa central pase a energía interna. 3, 2, 1. Ahora. Y lo que nos falta entonces son muy pocos momentos para llegar a este despegue y todo sigue como pautado. En este momento la etapa interna de propulsión criogénica está preparándose para estar lista con los últimos preparativos de hidrógeno líquido. Y mientras continuamos el conteo, el sistema de lanzamiento espacial va a recibir el comando de tomar control interno de esta misión. Y ahora, de ese punto en adelante, la nave va a tener posesión de esta misión que nos llevará de vuelta a la Luna.
¡Qué emoción! Eso ya va a pasar en unos 6 segundos.
Se transfiere entonces el comando de lanzamiento a bordo de los sistemas que tiene el sistema de lanzamiento espacial. Y ya lo que falta son unos segundos para terminar este conteo y ver un despegue del sistema de lanzamiento espacial.
¡Qué emoción!
Llegados los 10 segundos, vamos a ver el comando para arrancar la etapa central. Ahora. Y tenemos ahora los arranques de los motores. Y continuando ahora.
¡Despegue!
Con
el
el
cohete
despegue.
SLS y la nave espacial Orion van rumbo a la Luna. Con esta misión ya está más cerca el regreso de la humanidad a la superficie lunar.
5 engines on the core stage and 2 solid rocket boosters now propelling the vehicle at 128 miles per hour.
Qué impresionante.
Good control on the roll from teams in Mission Control Houston. All good calls so far. Now 30 seconds into the flight of Artemis 1. First milestone, looking forward to vehicles passing the launch. This is the greatest period of atmosphere force on the rocket. SLS now traveling 607 miles per hour. You're looking at 8.8 million pounds of maximum thrust. Quiet here in the loops in Mission Control. The 4 core stage engines are throttling
Los
down.
cuatro
Heading
motores
past the
continúan
rescue.
de esta etapa. Perfecto.
Now 1 minute, 21 seconds into the flight, traveling at 1,420 miles per hour. The 4 core stage engines are back at maximum thrust. The next major milestone will be for the solid rocket boosters to cut off and jettison at about 2 minutes and 11 seconds into the flight, so about 30 seconds from now. Again, quiet here in Mission Control Houston as teams continue monitoring the flight of Artemis 1. We're now 16 miles downrange from the launch pad at Kennedy Space Center, traveling over 2,800 miles per hour.
En los próximos segundos el empuje de los
Standing by
motores
for
se
solid rocket
reduce
booster jettison and shortly thereafter.
para empezar la separación de los cohetes de propulsores y se descartarán estos propulsores de combustible sólido que ocurren en estos momentos.
Confirmation that the solid rocket boosters have separated these 177-foot boosters. Now the core stage continues to power the flight of Orion, all four RS-25 engines firing, traveling over 3,400 miles per hour, 46 miles downrange. Now 7 minutes 45 seconds into the flight, traveling over 16,000 miles per hour. Continuing to hear good calls here in Mission Control Houston. We're standing by for core stage main engine cutoff. And we have confirmation of core stage main engine cutoff. Orion is now in Earth's orbit. The flight dynamics officer reports that we have a nominal main engine cutoff. And we just heard the call for core stage separation. That means Orion and the interim cryogenic propulsion stage are now flying free from the core stage of the Space Launch System. The next milestone will be solar array deploy approximately 18 minutes after liftoff. But before Orion stretches its wings, let's check back in with our friends at Kennedy Space Center and hear all about what it was like to hear the rocket roar off the launch pad. Megan and Kayla, I've got to hear all about it.
Well, I don't think we're Megan and Kayla here, but they do have friends at Kennedy Space Center. Let's see if we can't get Hayden and Philip back into commentary.
That was
Is everybody still here?
I am.
That was not
admittedly a mess, but so yeah, folks, Orion is on its way to the moon. Artemis 1 is on its way to the moon, as you saw there, SLS, the Space Launch System, beautifully and successfully lifted off of Launch Complex 39B at the Kennedy Space Center in Florida.